Welcome to the Beyond the Game podcast on Fishbowl Radio. My name is Jamie. It's Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. How's everyone doing out there? Good? That's good. Now, before I get to my national championship recap, I was just pressured by both Angelo and Sammy to perform at my best today as far as talking about the Commanders. Um, I was wrong about their prediction last week. I want to admit that. I was wrong because I thought, Detroit could come in and well rested. You got the number one seed, you won 15 games. And then all of a sudden it gets to game time. And you got a team that is on the rise. You got another team that, I'm talking about Detroit. Detroit's on the rise. And then you got another team that struggled in their organization, and then they finally found their quarterback. So I'm pressured, but I will get through it. Now let's talk about this championship game last night. Ohio State wins the championship, 34-23 over Notre Dame. It was actually a good game, great game to watch. You know, Being down 31-7 sucks. Midway in the third quarter, and then having something to go your way. That's what Notre Dame had to do. I chose Notre Dame for the simple fact because I thought Notre Dame can come in and not be scared, come in and run the football effectively. They got away from the run early because they were down by 24 points. Riley Leonard, played his best ball I ever seen. I mean, I don't even know this quarterback, but I saw a quarterback that led. I saw a quarterback that led his team to victory, to almost a victory, and that's why I before the season started. Sorry, not before the season. Last week I chose them to win. I thought Notre Dame had the best front seven. I thought Ohio State wasn't going to match that, and they did. You talk about Notre Dame. You talk about excellence. You talk about how Riley Leonard came in from Duke and defied all odds. There shouldn't be any shame in the world of where Notre Dame could have been. So, speaking of that, we need to praise Jaden Gatehouse. 6 receptions for 128 yards and 2 touchdowns. He dominated the second half, and that's where Notre Dame stayed in the game. The wheel routes, the one-hand catches, Riley not being pressured. They stayed in the game because of those things, and they fought in the second half. I don't know why you gotta wait till the second half of a big national championship game to fight in the second half. The fight wasn't there in the first because the first half was complete domination by Ohio State. Ohio State was able to run wherever they want. We need to give a shout out to Quinshawn Junkins, the transfer running back from Ole Miss. He didn't get enough shine last night. He should have been the first interview that Ohio State should have. Not Will Howard, not Cody Simon, Junkins the running back. The way he did all these things, he had 3 touchdowns, including one of them was receiving. He was the one that powered Ohio State to victory. He was the one. Will Howard just played a decent enough game to get Ohio State over the top. I just wish that he could have been the first person interviewed on stage. Or better yet, West Holly Road. But he wasn't. But then again, you celebrate the championship. It doesn't matter who they interview first and all that stuff. And so, now, but there was some questionable decision making by Marcus Howard. And today, I'm not upset at him. Well, I kind of am because he kind of screwed that game up. So let's hear from Marcus Howard because there was a situation in the third quarter, late third quarter, right? You're down. Sorry, no, sorry. This is fourth quarter. My bad. Fourth quarter, early fourth quarter. You're down 31-15, right? You have the ball at the 25 or the 24, 23 yard line. I can't remember. You go for a field goal. I want him to explain his decision making. So let's hear from Marcus Howard, please. Okay. Yes. No. Yeah. Okay.
14 points, 16 points. And so if it was a shorter fourth and goal situation, I probably would have gone for it, but I just felt 4th and 9 was not a great chance for us to make that. And, we decided to keep it.
Marcus Howard. I'm sorry, not Marcus Howard. I don't know where I got Marcus Howard from. Marcus Friedman. No, it's not time for questionable decision making. This is where you have to just go. Your team had the momentum. Go for it. Even now, you missed a field goal. It went off the upright. You missed it. So you lost 0 points. But then again, on the back end, you got a turnover. So just imagine going for it on 4th and 9, right? 4th and 9, you go for it, you get the first down, and then you score. Matter of fact, they did get a turnover and they scored. So it was 31-23. But at that time, Marcus, you have to make a better decision for your team because you don't get this opportunity ever again. You don't get to represent Notre Dame as an independent conference to go to represent you in the national championship game. You don't ever you don't get that opportunity ever again. So if I were him, I would have gone for it. I would have gone for it and lived with the best and live through it. If you don't make it, then that's fine. If you make it, okay, we play another possession. And so I am upset at him for not being aggressive enough in that stage. But then again, they came back and Emmanuel Ibuka turned the ball over, put the ball on the ground, and Notre Dame got the ball back. They eventually scored. And so now, Notre Dame could have stopped them all night. Notre Dame was in zone man coverages. So nobody's taking this loss to heart, but the players. And I know Marcus Howard cares, but the players, they did everything they can to make this a game. Defensively, they sucked. They couldn't play zone. They couldn't play man. Ohio State was getting them off their heels. It's just whether you can play zone. Okay, this running back runs for 50 yards. If it's man, they were over the top to Jemiah Smith, who caught a 50-plus yard catch in the fourth quarter on 3rd and 11, and that's where the field goal came in. And so to me, Ohio State confuses you defensively on that. And so I'm just not happy with Notre Dame right now. I'm just not. But then again, they played a great game. The game was great. My watch party sucked. But, uh, but, but the game was great. So, so now we got to talk about the whole entire season of college football. This is the off season now, guys. Now we're here. We don't have any football games left in college. The transfer portal, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a few players from Ohio State and Notre Dame entering the transfer portal. And these are guys that are going to be like random guys that haven't played a down this season that are going to enter the transfer portal. And so there's some things that the NCAA that the has done that I don't agree with, but needs to work on. But these are my college football headlines for 2025 into 2026. And we got spring football in the next 3 months, but also we got college football. We gotta wait 7 more months for that to come back. But here's what they can do in the meantime. Number one, Texas and Ohio State are favorites to win the championship next season. So you talk about Texas being close. You talk about Queen Earth ending the draft. You talk about Arch Manning taking over now. And now Arch Manning has, 4 years to get Texas a title, along with Sark, along with anyone else that comes to Texas. They got to be ready to play. I thought this season, Texas was their best season. Now, I don't believe in odds makers. I don't really go to Las Vegas to gamble, but I do believe that Texas has a chance under Arch Manning. I think Texas will be better offensively than what Quinn distributed out there. You talk about Arch being a runner. You talk about Arch using his legs a lot. I think they're going to utilize him. I think they're going to throw the playbook all over him. I think they're going to make sure that he's comfortable with it. If it's a read option, he'll go take it. If it's not, then he will throw the football. I like where Texas is going in 2025. I haven't looked at their schedule yet, but I like their chances. I mean, I'm not saying it's national championship material, but I like the fact that they can be in the SEC conversation again. Ohio State is the favorites. Will Howard is not. I don't think he's going to be there. There's going to be a bunch of players opting for the draft, or like I said, random players that didn't play are going to be in the transfer portal as of today or later on this week. And so you got Ryan Day there, and the amount of pressure that Ryan Day suffered. The Michigan game, everybody was calling for his head. Everyone. Okay? You beat Tennessee. Okay? You beat Oregon. All right? Then you beat Texas. Fine. Now you win a national championship. All everyone says, you got to win a championship to keep your job. That's what Ryan Day did. And I have to give him credit. I mean, I'm not a big Ryan Day fan. I don't like him as a coach because he doesn't fight enough for his players. But damn, he runs some great plays on offense. And it seems like the team rallies behind him to get the job done. I wonder if I have a Ryan Day clip. Do I have a Ryan Day clip? Yes. No, okay, perfect. So yeah, I mean, Ryan, I'm not saying he's the best. He's one of the best. I'm not saying the best coach in college football. I'm saying he's one of the best in college football. So Texas and Ohio State, according to ESPN's odd makers, are the early favorites to be in the national championship conversation again. Number two, you got to keep the 12-team playoff. The 12-team playoff is great. I like the fact that those 12 teams were able to get a chance. I like the fact that Boise State being a bottom Power 5 team gives an opportunity winning the Mountain West Championship gets an opportunity to participate. But it's almost like the committee wants to change some things. Like we've been preaching this 12-team playoff team for a long time. We're not going to extend it any further. We're not going to give Alabama, North Clemson, or any other team or Ole Miss a chance to get to be in this thing because they will lay an egg. Kind of like Alabama laid an egg in their bowl game. Ole Miss won their bowl game, but Alabama did not. I can't take Alabama and an 8-4 Alabama team without a Nick Saban to the college football playoff. I'm sorry, we're not doing that anymore. Those days of Alabama are way behind him. And I doubt they will win 8 games again. You got number 3. You got to get rid of the 2-point conversion after the second overtime. So the stupidest rule in college football is that after you played 2 overtimes, the third through about the 9th overtime, you got to go for 2 every single possession to win the game. And now, to me, that rushes the process of we want to get this game ended. And it's not. You're not doing it for player safety. You're doing it for the fan safety as well, because the fans don't want to sit there all hours cheering their asses off. We want to go home. But for me, I want the guys to battle it out to the end. And 2-point conversions after the second overtime doesn't help that. I want the guys to go after it full-fledged. I want four downs. I want 4 downs and third do 9 or 10 overtimes you play. And let them decide the winner, not the government. I want teams to decide the winner. I want teams to continue to fight. In this day and age, we have lost the fight in battle. We only fight when it's convenient. For example, the college football playoff, those teams that were in the playoffs, those teams fought in the regular season versus a North Texas or Louisiana or TCU for that matter. They did not fight. Those 3 teams I mentioned did not fight in the regular season. But you wait to the bowl game to fight. That's too late. That starts in August. Well, actually, that starts now. That starts now through December. What fighting chance are you going to give yourself? Number 4, Steve Sarkisian signs a 7-year deal. Now, Steve Sarkisian was approached by the Cowboys, Jacksonville, and he might be approached. He probably was approached by the Jets of their head coaching job. Now, Steve can coach. I blame him for that game. You cannot throw your team under the bus. When things don't go right, you cannot throw your team under the bus. You got a new 7-year contract. So that means in that window, we have to win a championship. With Arch Manning, listen, the opportunity is there. We're not talking about the SEC regular season championship or the SEC conference championship. We're talking about a national championship, the one that Ohio State won. And it leaves no room for error for you to get fired. You will not get fired in those 7 years' time. Number 5, Notre Dame has a 1,500% chance to 1,500. It's 1,500 on the money line to be in this college football playoff again. So you talk about Marcus Freeman. You talk about Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, fought to the end. That's what I'm saying. You gotta throw the marbles out. You gotta throw everything out in the open so that you give your team a chance to win. Because again, this never happens. We never had a repeat winner in college football. Alabama was the staple, and now you're seeing teams like Ohio State, Texas. You can throw in Georgia. Well, actually, Georgia, yes. You can throw in Arizona State. Teams that participated outside of Boise State in the college football playoff have more of a chance than Notre Dame has ever been. Now, just imagine if that was Georgia. If Georgia had better quarterback play, Georgia would have been in the college football, in this position. But it is what it is. But Notre Dame will have to convince themselves to be in the position again. Because right now, their odds are not looking good. Number 6, speaking of Georgia, can they return to greatness? Like I said, Georgia's a quarterback away to return. They have a running game. They have a wide receiver game. They have offensive line. They have an NFL-type defense. And the only thing is the quarterback. And you know what the other thing is? The other thing is decision-making. The other thing is decision-making. You guys see the stories of Georgia's players getting arrested for speeding and all the other stuff. And you expect their lawyers to save them because of their reputation and all that stuff. And it's like, it's not. I disagree with that, honestly. I mean, to each his own. I'm not a lawyer at the end of the day. But at the same time, why not? Don't do the shit first. Don't do the shit in the first place to put yourself in that position. Because you put yourself in that position, you're worried about you versus the team. The team itself is there. The team can win. But it's your decision makers outside of the team is what we have in question. What we have to question about. And so, Georgia can win. But Georgia has to make decisions in the offseason, players-wise. Not coaches, players-wise. Number 7, where does LSU and Brian Kelly land? So, Brian Kelly was the Notre Dame coach. I think he was a coach for like 4 or 5 seasons, I believe. And he couldn't get the job done. Notre Dame was in the position of winning a championship. Again, they've been independent for a long time, and Brian Kelly couldn't get them to that point. Brian Kelly has made more excuses than Marcus Freeman has ever had. Marcus Freeman, hearing him, did not make an excuse last night. Marcus Freeman put this on him. That's a man's man. That's a man's man. Not Brian Kelly being a wuss and say, it's this player's fault. It's that player's fault. It's the fans' fault. Dude, at the end of the day, you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I screwed up. I'm the reason why LSU will not get to the promised land. I'm the reason why my coaching sucks. I never agree with a coach going out there player in the press conference. I don't agree with it at all. Now, if you ask me, you got to do that privately. Now, listen, everybody wants to be sensitive about coaches yelling at players on the sidelines. They should do it behind closed doors. Okay, great. I understand that. But why not do it in the moment? So that in the moment, that player has a chance to learn from his or her mistakes. When he did that, I think it was against USC or some other team. When he did that, okay, I agree with that. But when you do it in the press conferences, there's I question your character. I question your integrity as a man. You can't do that in the press. Why not do it to the player's face? The player will understand at the end of the day where you're coming from. And Brian Kelly lacks passion. He don't care about LSU. He cares about himself. He cares about when his next contract is coming. Instead of getting LSU to the top. You know how I know? Because I read body language. I'm not a sidekick, but I read body language of coaches. Number 8, will Colorado win the Big 12? I was just telling, you know, two people in this room. One of them is a Cowboys fan, and another one is a Commanders fan. They want us to hire Coach Prime. And I'm like, why? Why are we bringing the circus in town versus a championship? And Coach Prime's a great coach. Stephen A. said the same thing. He said it will make sense. Well, what sense does it make, Stephen A.? Hiring a coach that hasn't excelled much in college football, that has a barely 500 record, but couldn't get his team over to the top. What makes you think now he's ready for the NFL? It's a different animal in the NFL. He's got to win first. Then we can talk about the Dallas Cowboys coaching job, which I'll explain more in a second. So I want Coach Prime to win. You can't recruit all those players from the transfer portal to the incoming freshman class to be on your team and then screw them at the end of the day for this job. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be in the bottom three. And if that's where the Cowboys want to be, then so be it. Number 9, which team needs to be challenged the most? This is the SEC, Alabama or OU. Now, I talked about Alabama. I said Alabama, they're going to be 8-4 or 7-5 or 6-6 for a very long time. And they expect at 4 losses, you expect to be in the college football playoff. At 3 losses, you're supposed to be in the college football playoff. Over a team that went undefeated, a team that had, 1 loss, 2 losses. Boise State had 1 loss, and they were able to get in. SMU had 1 loss, and they were able to get in. So what are we talking about when we're talking about a 3-loss team in Alabama? They're supposed to be in because of their name or their quarterback. Is that what we're talking about? What about OU? OU lost their quarterback to Auburn, which good luck to him. I don't know what you saw in Auburn, but good luck to you. You couldn't play quarterback in OU. What makes you think you're going to make Auburn a little bit better? And OU could have fired their coach. OU could have fired Brent Venables, the guy who smiles a lot. He could have. But yet, what did you see in Brent that says, you know what, we're going to win the SEC next season? All those coaches that are in line, that are better than Brent, you could have hired. And again, I'm not trying to go after his job. Make your best decisions, but you got to take this crap. You got to take this crap seriously. College football's on the rise. You got teams like SMU coming. You got teams like North Carolina now. They're coming because of Bill Belichick. So OU, where's your room? Where do you fit in the SEC? And North Carolina's not an SEC team, nor is SMU, but they're on the rise. So OU's got to get it together. My last and final point, number 10, the transfer portal. What's the benefit of it? You have to, when you guys enter the transfer portal, guys or girls enter the transfer portal, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, softball, all the other stuff. You have to have, what's that called? You have to have the it factor, meaning that when you go to your next college, you have to be able to give all you got. Don't treat this as a vacation. Treat it as a job. Treat it as a career. Treat it as a career to the point where you may not get this next career ever again at this next other place. They may go with somebody else over you. and you got to transfer again to find your footing, and the next thing you know, you're running out of eligibility, and now you got to ask the NCAA, hey, NCAA, I want to go to this college for the fourth time or fourth or fifth time. I want more eligibility, and the NCAA in this week ass stage will say, oh yeah, we can give you this. We can give you 2 more years at 27 or 28 years old. You know, these guys are afraid of challenges. At 28 years old, I understand. I understand you're afraid, but who isn't? I'm 37. I'm afraid of, I challenge myself every single day. I may not get the best results. Look at 45. I'm not 45, but 40-year-olds, 50, 60. We all challenge ourselves. It's okay. Take your time, day by day, plan it, put a plan out there, and go execute it to the best of your ability. Stop asking the government to give you a free bonus. That's what the NCAA is doing. The NCAA says, you know, you guys, you haven't exhausted your eligibility yet. So they'll give you one more year, and all this stuff until you get it right. I know the medical redshirt comes along, you get hurt in those seasons, and that argument there, yes, I will say yes. Go ahead and give them 1 more year or 2 more years, whatever the years may be. But as far as I'm healthy for 3 seasons, I may have sucked, but you got to remember, you got to go to a college that fits best. In basketball, if they're running and gunning, if you don't fit in that realm, then don't go to it. Period. Do a list of 5 to 6 colleges you want to go to. Go visit them, and then sleep on it, and then make a great hashtag decision and go to work. Go to work. That's it. We don't see guys and girls. We never hear guys and girls in the gym, whereas basketball 24/7. We never hear. Well, actually, we hear Juju. That's the only person I've heard so far. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I heard somebody else. But I'm always hearing Juju Watkins be in the gym after hours, working on her game. Look at their end results. In football, look at Ohio State. Look at Will Howard. Look at the running back Quinshon Jenkins. Look at Emmanuel Ubuka. Look at Jeremiah Smith. Guys that have dog mentalities have worked hard after practice. You see it. You see it. You can't just you can't just go to practice from 3 to 5 and say 5 o'clock we're going to end it there. No, you got to take the shit seriously. It's like overtime. Overtime at a job, you're there until you fulfilled every requirement. In football, basketball, baseball, you're there till you fulfill every requirement, and that's where you see the Hall of Famers shine. So that's my college football take. If there's any major college football news, well, I will definitely bring it to you with my opinions on it. All right. I got to put my best foot forward here because we got to talk about the NFL. Number 1, the Chiefs. The Chiefs, every season, they get screwed around by the officials. Some team goes to Arrowhead and gets screwed around by the officiating. Okay? C.J. Stroud played well. He went 19 for 28 for 245 yards. He was sacked 8 times. Joe Mixon had 18 carries for 88 yards and a touchdown. They had calls that impacted the game. There was a helmet-to-helmet hit. When Pat Mahomes went down, there was a helmet-to-helmet hit. There was another hit before that Will Anderson hit on Pat Mahomes. It wasn't really a hit. It was just soft. So we need to hear from both DeMeco Ryan and C.J. Stroud. These two people never go after the officials, but they had to on Saturday. And I honestly 110% agree with them. So I want to play you this clip, please. Let's play back to back both C.J. Stroud and D'Amico Ryans, please.
Tonight about reflecting on the valleys, the mountaintops, and the growth of the season. How do you feel now with a couple of days to think about things and kind of where you guys are, where you are?
Yeah, having just like a day or two to go back and look at it and kind of reflect on the season. It's kind of the same mentality, just like super grateful for, the people, you come in to work with, the hard work people put in. Of course it hasn't been perfect, but when is it ever perfect in your life? So I'm more, excited because I know the only way is up, and if even in a year like this, to me, it was a successful year, not to the point of the standard that I would like, but.
So you hear from D'Amico Ryan. He was talking about the standard. C.J. Stroud, please. That was C.J. Stroud?
Here comes the D'Amico Ryans.
Okay. That was C.J. Stroud? Huh. I didn't know he spoke like that. Okay.
How do you feel about some of the questionable or controversial penalties?
Okay, we knew going into this game, man, it was us versus everybody. Right? When I say everybody, it's everybody. All the whatever. Everybody, the naysayers, the doubt, right? Everybody.
So, anyways, you heard from C.J. Stroud and D'Amico Ryan. We need men in the NFL, guys. Pat Mahomes shouldn't be like a Tom Brady-esque quarterback. Tom Brady-esque quarterback never got hit a lot because the officials always have protected Tom Brady. So are you telling me in 2025, we're protecting Pat Mahomes? Are you telling me that? Because you're not telling me that. You're not telling me a quarterback that is a runner that's trying to get the first down, gets hit. Well, actually, he didn't get hit. The Texans player hit each other, and now you're calling that a rough. Well, you call it personal foul or you call it rough and foul. Where is the quarterbacks? Where is the game gone? The game has gone to shits now because we got the NFL being softies, trying to protect Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes can protect himself. When you're out of the pocket, you are considered a runner. You are allowed to get tackled. Period. In the story. I mean, if it results in injury, okay, but you are a runner, and I don't agree with the soft push that Will Anderson gave to Pat Mahomes. They called a personal foul on that. They call it roughing the passer. Pat Mahomes flopped. Like, you can't flop your way to a championship. If that's the case, then we should turn the NFL off. We should turn it off. Because the Chiefs are going to win by default. And now we're going to start putting Pat Mahomes in the GOAT conversation, even though he don't deserve it. He don't deserve to be in that conversation when you're playing like that. But then again, his team won, unfortunately. I chose the Chiefs to win anyways. And also we got, Taylor Swift and Caitlin Clark were hanging out with each other. And I'm like, well, damn, there goes my Saturday then. Because you see Taylor Swift and Caitlin Clark hanging out with each other, there goes the game. The league never wanted, not the WNBA, the Unrivaled League that I want to talk about later on, they did not say no to Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark said no to the Unrivaled League because she won the rest. She accomplished a lot. Now she gets to hang out with Taylor Swift, and now the cameras focus on those two instead of the game. So I don't care about where Taylor Swift is there. Along with Caitlin Clark. I love those two people. However, I can't imagine how the players feel. I can't imagine being a Chiefs fan, sitting there, trying to watch my team shine, and then yet I see these two. Stop it. Let me watch my football and go over with. Let me watch the Miko Ryan's Texas fight against a team that should have no business being there. Number 2, Philly's comeback. Philly beat the Rams 28-22. Saquon had 26 carries, around 205 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts went 15 for 20 for 128 yards. He was sacked 7 times. He rushed the ball. He rushed for a touchdown. So we have questions. Number 1, Saquon. How do you stop Saquon? I want the Commanders fan to tell me, how do you stop Saquon? Let me do intimidation. Let me do an intimidation of Angela. We're here, baby. We got it. So we're not. You're not stopping anybody. You're not stopping Saquon Barkley. Saquon went for 2,000 yards and 205 yards rushing against one of the best defensive lines in the league. One of the few best defensives in 2024. You're not stopping. You would think that the Commanders will have figured out. He can't even figure it out. He just told me that, oh yeah, we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. For what? You don't go there you don't go there as a fan. You're not going there to play. You're not going there as a fan. But why? But why? I just want to know how you're going to stop this running back. And also, as much as I love Matt Stafford, this is not the end for him. You cannot end like this, Matt. You cannot end like this. I refuse you to go into retirement like this. This is not the end. You can't live off of one championship. You got to go after another one, please. If you don't get it, then that's fine. But here's a quarterback in Matt Stafford that is tired. He gets hit a lot every single season. That's where the questions start to come in for him. Say, hey, is this game good for me? And if you answer that question, then there you go. I mean, I'm not saying Matt Stafford should retire, but I'm saying that you take the time to make the best decision for you. Number 3, Detroit's short trip. Now, Detroit won 15 games in the regular season. Dan Campbell talked all that talk. Washington has won the last 3 games. Actually, they won like 5 straight. Washington beat them 45-31 handily. Jaden Daniels 22 for 31 for 299 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Detroit Lions had 5 turnovers. That's why the Washington Commanders won. They forced the ball 5 times, and the fan himself will say, "Oh yeah, the Commanders are number 1," all this stuff. No, they're not. Detroit turned the ball over 5 times. That is the problem. Washington was able to capitalize. Was all them. And there's a conversation that we need to have. The Commanders fan, I'm picking on him today because I was wrong in my prediction last week against who they played against Tampa Bay. I was wrong in this game. He came in here before the show. He said J.D. Daniels is going to be the face of the league. In what? Do you realize that there are quarterbacks coming on the rise? They're coming in to the studio, not to the studio. They're coming in to the league with My last and final point in the NFL headlines is there's other headlines. The Bears hired Ben Johnson. This is Detroit's offensive coordinator. The Cowboys have 3 to 4 candidates. Recently, as this morning, if you want to announce stupid crap, I don't like I don't like to announce stupid crap, but the Cowboys did announce this morning that they're going to interview Brian Schottenheimer. Interviewing Brian Schottenheimer. This coordinator was a former Cowboys offensive. Well, he was a former offensive coordinator for the Cowboys, but he was offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. So, and his coaching tree started with he's the son of his father Marty, coached in the NFL for a bunch of years. But why? Why are we announcing that crap? I don't know. Kellen Moore has interviewed as of this past weekend. Robert Saleh interviewed. I think he interviewed last week sometime. Coach Prime was a conversation. And now I'm hearing that Coach Prime, this is from Instagram, I'm hearing that Coach Prime is being removed from the coaching list. I'm not celebrating that, but that tells me that his heart was in Colorado more than the NFL. And then my pick would have been Brian Flores. So my pick is still Brian Flores. I think that's my pick. I think going either Kellen Moore or Brian Flores, they work well. Brian Flores is more disciplined than Kellen Moore. I think Brian Flores works well with Dak. If you talk about we're not talking about race. We're talking about working well with your quarterback. You can look at Miami and say, you know what, Miami it didn't work out. Miami. Tua is just too much. Tua was hurt most of the time in Miami, so Brian Flores had nothing to work with in Miami. But with Dak, a guy that barely gets hurt, yeah, you can work well with Dak. Now, Kellen Moore was Dak's offensive coordinator, so Kellen Moore does know this team. So that's why he's in the running still. Again, he's still. I wouldn't mind the team hiring Kellen Moore. I'll be happy if they do. I'll be happy. But I did say this the other day. I said this to Chance this morning. I said, hey, Coach Prime is going to get hired over. This is going to be a shiny. This is going to be a circus over a championship. Do you want the circus or do you want a championship? We, as Dallas Cowboys fans, we've been upset for 30 plus years. We're watching the Commanders and the Eagles play in the NFC Championship game, especially the Commanders, who have gone there for the first time since 1991. We are the only team that has a drought extended by 30 years of not being in the NFC Championship game. That's embarrassing, guys. But yet, you got people at 153 The Fan telling us fans, please don't cuss. I'm like, dude, we're upset. We're upset at this team failing every single season. And you want to tell us to pipe down and let the progress roll. Pipe down and let Jerry do his thing. Pipe down and let Dak not take care of his body. Pipe down and let Micah, your linebacker, the stupidest things I ever seen, and not exemplify leadership. That's why as Cowboys fans, we're very upset. That's why that stat came in. We don't have time for all that talk. Look at the Commanders now. They're in the NFC Championship game against all odds. They have something working in Washington. It's embarrassing. Don't tell us to pipe down if this organization can't get it right. And now we have 3 to 4 candidates. Chicago just said, you know what? Let's go ahead and get Ben Johnson before anyone else does. He works well as Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams should be receptive to him. They'll win, right? They'll win. But with the Cowboys, you don't care. It's the circus over a championship. And that's why you got guys over there, and I love them to death. But please don't tell us to pipe down when I'm seeing Washington have all this success and finally get it right. Jerry does not know how to get it right. That's why everything falls on him. And he will never take the blame. It's always Dad's fault. It's always Will replacement. It's always Mike's fault. And that's why Mike is no longer on this team. Yeah, that's why you got Micah Parsons telling us, "Oh, we'll win a championship in 2025." Micah, there is 30 teams in the NFL, including the 4 that are playing this weekend, that want to win a championship. You don't realize that. Why are you? Well, why as some type of leader in this football team, you say we're going to win a championship? What steps are you taking to make that happen? And first of all, you go out there and say, we lost a great coach in Mike McCarthy. What? He wasn't great. He failed. 12-5 doesn't equal to a championship. 12-5 is just a regular season record. That's it. As a leader, you rally the troops and say, you know what? You know what, guys? We're going to get this right. We're not going to have any more drama on this team in 2025. Period. That's what I wanted Michael Parsons to say, but he will never say those things. But yet, as Cowboys fans, we say he's a leader. Okay. Keep being a fake leader as you are. And then maybe in 7 months, we'll believe it. Till we see it. All right, guys. That's it for my NFL headlines of the day. I will definitely recap the AFC and the NFC Championship games next week. But other than that, coming up next, we got basketball to talk about. Let's talk about the new Unrival League, and also let's talk about TCU's week, and also let's talk about the NBA. So we're going to talk about that next. It's Beyond the Game on Fishbowl Radio. Welcome back to Beyond the Gay podcast on Fishbowl Radio. My name is Jamie. So now college football is in the rearview mirror. There's nothing else to talk about, but I guess the majority of these players will be getting ready for the NFL draft. They'll be getting ready for the scouting combine, stuff like that. I'm intrigued in watching the draft this year, so I want to see who goes first or second or third or whoever. So here we go with TCU's. This is the women's side. So they beat UCF 90-81. Sedona Press had 27 points and 7 rebounds. She was the Big 12 Player of the Week last week. Closer game. This was a closer game than December 21st because they beat UCF by 40 points. What will stop TCU? And also, they attacked the zone by getting the paint touches. So I think TCU will be stopped if. So I'm going to answer my own question when I finish this matchup first. TCU beat Utah 81-73 on Friday. Gianna Kippins, if I'm pronouncing that name correctly, 26 points and 7 rebounds for Utah. Now, Utah lost their head coach, Lynn Roberts, to the WNBA before the season started. So once I read her press conference, I will get a chance to know what Lynn Roberts runs for the Sparks. And y'all will see on some WNBA page and all that stuff. So I think this is a good hire for the Sparks. I think this is a good hire for them. I think they'll be able to run some things. The only question I have is, are they going to make Rickea Jackson the number one option on offense? Back to college basketball. They blew a 24-point halftime lead, almost. They outscored 49-36 in the second half. Utah hit, once they got to paint, they were hitting open threes once their guards hit the paint, and they were able to kick it out to shooters. They kept the lead by getting Utah in foul trouble. So Utah, the weaknesses was turnovers and foul trouble. That's why Utah wasn't able to win this game. Or else we'll be talking about TCU in a different light. Now TCU is 19-1. TCU should get all the glory in the world being 19-1. What will stop them is themselves. I did question their depth a little bit because Matt Campbell is going with 7 players instead of 8 or 9. It's going to hurt their depth in the long run. You can't go as this in the Big 12. I think when Sedona gets into foul trouble, you have to put someone else in that can match up the energy. So you're telling me that when I heard the broadcast, that you're telling me that all those players that are sitting on the bench have not been practicing well. If that's what you're telling me, because if you're telling me that, then I can understand them sitting on the bench and keeping the bench warm. But I can't even tell you that. I can't tell you how pissed off I am when teams teams only play 7 players. I mean, it just doesn't sound right. But then again, TCU wins. TCU wins because all you have is Haley and Sedona. Now, does this thing tell me that TCU women's basketball gets them to a Big 12 regular season title, or even in the NCAA tournament, or even winning the Big 12 championship? Because I would rather win the conference championship than the regular season title. That's just me. I'm sorry. That's just me. I go big over small. So, TCU has some tough games this week. The number one game I'm looking at is Oklahoma State. I have not watched a single Oklahoma State game. I've seen their record. I've seen their coach. I heard their coach. And I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued because TCU now has a real challenge. Utah, UCF, we can throw them out the window. Utah, they have some moments. But Oklahoma State is the challenge. You beat that challenge, I think February will be an easy month for TCU. Number 2, Mean Green men's basketball. So the men's basketball for UNT, they beat East Carolina 69 to 60. Antel Wright he's had a great week. 22 points, 6 rebounds, 6 from 11 from 3-point range. They went 8 for 17 in the second half from the free throw line. And this is against East Carolina. They were actually down by 6 at the half. That was UNT. UNT was down by 6 at the half this game. They took the drives away. They killed the East Carolina zone. East Carolina played a lot of zone to keep their players out of foul trouble. Their offensive challenge, so offensive rebounding and ball movement. So UNT, the men's side, they're not great offensively. We're not talking about a team that can average 70 to 80 points a game. That's not what UNT is. UNT is more of a defensive-minded team that when they build off their defense, they can literally kill you offensively. So all the motivation on defense translates to offense. Now, this was a tough game against UTSA because they were up by 22 points. UNT, they were up by 22 points. I just watched last week. I just watched SMU women's side blew a 30-point lead to Pittsburgh. This is women's basketball. I just happened to watch it last week. I'm not trying to compare the two, but what I'm saying, when you have a 20-plus lead, you can't blow it, guys. Or girls, or for that matter. You cannot blow it. But the Mean Green almost did. They beat UTSA 72 to 57. Antwell Wright, again, had 22 points. They gave up 39 points and 10 turnovers in the second half. 39 points is a lot of points. They didn't even, UTSA didn't even hit 20, but they had 39. They had 39 points though in the second half. They almost made it in the game. They cut this down to I think as close as 6 points. I think it was either between 6 or 9 points. They need to work on the press. So what what makes me mad? When teams press, you got to have the backside. You got to be like when you trap in the backcourt, when you're trapping that bottom right corner in the backcourt, and you're telling your players to get the ball over the rim, over to that other side, you have to play back. UTSA did that, but I think we only got 2 fast break points off their presses. And so, with that being said, North Texas, when you're trying to beat the press, you have to have someone in the middle. Someone's got to be standing at the logo to receive the pass. So, that's how you beat the press. It's all about communication and ball movement. You can't play around with the possessions in the backcourt because if you do, then the seconds go off, and that's that. And so now they beat the press. Now they got some work to do. It's not going to be easy for the men's side. It's not going to be easy. I think East Carolina, UTSA, considering the fact they know these teams, they beat these teams. It wasn't handily. They had to win this late. I almost at the fourth quarter, but under 4 minutes. They had to win this under the 4-minute mark. So it's not going to be easy moving forward for the UNT men, and possibly for the TCU women as well. We're in conference play. We're deep into it. Anybody can lose at any time. You just have to be ready. You got to over prepare. Number 3, let's talk about the women's side. The women beat Rice 61 to 53. That's the Mean Green. Demisha Lemke had 17 points and 11 rebounds. They forced 22 turnovers. Rice had 22 turnovers. Kyla Deck is back. She provided spark off the bench. Yeah, Rice is struggling right now, but you got to get them to like mid-February into March. That's where Rice shines. That's part of the reason why Rice won the championship last year. Rice won the AAC last year because they went on a run in mid-February into March, and then March they were able to win the tournament in 4 days, 4 games in 4 days. They won the tournament and they almost beat LSU. They had LSU for 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter, they, like all mid-major teams do, they start to crumble under pressure. That's what Rice did. Now, I think, like I said, Rice is waiting until mid-February hits. That's when they take it up a notch. I'm pretty sure when they play again in February, it's going to be a different story. North Texas beats Wichita State 80-58. Thank God we're done with Wichita State because we can play them 100 times. We beat them 100% of the time. Division Lampkin has 17 points and 5 rebounds. Desiree Woodson has 17 points and 5 rebounds. The North Texas Mean Green, they're 6-1 for the 3rd time in history. Last year they were 6-1 as well, and then back in 1985 and 1986 they had the same record as well. So only the 3rd time. UNT turned the ball over 16 times. So yeah, you can celebrate, but you have to fix the turnovers. The turnovers could be proved costly because you're turning the ball over against a team that you're supposed to beat. Like, come on now, man. You can't be doing all that. You got to take care of the ball on its precious possessions. Now it is. And then they took care of business against a worthless opponent. Wichita State's a worthless opponent. Hearing this broadcast, they always want to, cheer on the other team and figure out and tell you, hey, they'll tell you, hey, go figure it out. Let me say something about Wichita State. They're not my team, but I'm just trying to reiterate what they said on the broadcast when I was watching on ESPN Plus. Wichita State could be a good team, but also Wichita State was in foul trouble this game. They were overly aggressive in this game itself. And when I tell you I was very upset with the over-aggression, I was like, man, they're putting themselves in harm's way. Wichita State put themselves in harm's way. And it shouldn't be like that, but it is what it is. So there you go. I mean, Wichita State could be a good team, but then again, it's like, man, if we had this player, or if we can play a little bit better, then yeah, everything will come to fruition. I don't want Teddy Neuter to be fired. He's the Wichita State head coach. I don't want him to be fired. I don't want him to be removed. Us as black men, or black women for that matter, we have a target on our backs to perform. If our teams don't perform well, we get fired within a year or so. Terry Neuter, even though his record is like 17-35 right now, he hasn't had the best teams as to date, but his teams play hard. It hasn't been the best results. So if I'm Wichita State, I keep Terry Neuter. I keep him. And try to and help him out with transfers and incoming freshmen who that want to play on this team. I think they're a hard-nosed team to play with. I think give them another season or two, and then they'll be in the top 3, top 5 in the AAC. And I mean that because I think that Wichita State is physical defensively. We couldn't get anything. I think we were overly doing it a lot, overly aggressively. Especially Tamisha Lampkin. The way she went up against the Wichita State big girls is almost like you could have suffered a serious injury. And excuse me, we're not trying to get you injured, Lampkin. We're trying to make sure that you're healthy for the tournament because you are our ride and die to the championship. I hate to say that, but it's true. Without Demetri Lanka, who are you throwing the ball into? You're making North Texas an outside team. You're not throwing it to Anaya Johnson because Anaya Johnson is not giving you the same amount of points that Demetri Lanka can give you. So, with that being said, what should I say was physical? Now, they're going to be more physical later on. Sorry, there's going to be more teams that are going to be physical than Wichita State later on. They know, some teams know UNT's weaknesses, some don't. Their strengths is the post. Their strengths with UNT defends the basketball effectively for 30 seconds. Their offense is rolling. It rolls together. But when teams start to defend the post better, then there's another option that UNT has to fix. They gotta fix their outside game. So every game's different. We'll see what happens. Number 4, Don Staley's record contract. Don Staley signed a contract for $25 million contract up until the 2030 season. So that's $4 million he's getting per year. Plus incentives and all that stuff. They would never announce that because, she's the greatest of all time, coaching-wise. 2017, 2022, 2024 are her championship titles. They beat Alabama 76-58. They also beat OU 101-60. Joyce Edwards had 17 points in that game, but Joyce Edwards had 21 points and 6 rebounds in that Alabama game. Malaysia for a while, 17 points and 7 assists against OU. This is against LSU and Tennessee this week. So they play. That LSU game is an ESPN game. I'm really invested in that matchup because I want to see what LSU can bring to the table. I'm also invested in that Tennessee matchup because I want to see what Tennessee can bring to the table, and also their coach is pregnant. So I'm hoping that their coach doesn't go into labor at that time. I'm not trying to be personal here, but they got the SEC conference tournament coming up, and also the NCAA tournament coming up as well. So, hoping she holds off. I don't know. I seen coaches pregnant on the sidelines before, but I never seen a coach go into labor during the tournament, and then having to go into labor, get the baby, they come back like a day later to coach her team. And I'm like, I don't know. Again, I don't have children, so I don't know what that's all about. So there you go. Hopefully somebody can educate me on that. So let's hear from Don Staley, please. Now, Don Staley, this is her conference, and we'll explain more about the record contract in a second. But let's hear from Don Staley, please.
Coach, how did your players react to the news of your new contract?
They asked to borrow $1. No, I think sometimes, I don't, I only give them information if they ask for it, or they have a reaction to it. And then I just tell them that what I just told you, there's going to be a time in their lives where they're going to feel like they're doing the job and they're getting paid less. And how to handle those instances. It is a fight, no matter what. It's a fight. It's a fight. It's a fight to explain to people what your worth is, what your worth is.
All right, so you heard Don Staley. So yeah, I agree with her. You gotta know what your worth is, and everyone has a chip on their shoulder. Um, whether it's and us black men and black women, no offense, Chance, but we have a chip on our shoulder. You know that. We have a chip on our shoulder. Whether it's finance, whether it's coaching basketball, football, this podcast that I have a chip on my shoulder to perform. That more chip on my shoulder was today because I got two people here before the show. They pressured me to talk about the Commanders. Now, I think I did a fairly good job talking about the Commanders today. And it was my takes today. I think I did a fairly good job. Now, but with that being said, Don Staley sets that example of how to coach in college basketball on the women's side. She inspires me because of her work ethic. She inspired all black women, black men that want the same contract as her someday. And we should all be inspired by her greatness. Because those championships don't come easy. She's always hard on her team. And her team performs. Excuse me. Now, number 5, there's other NBA headlines. Why are the Mavericks struggling? The Mavericks are having issues on defense. The Mavericks are having issues closing games late. The Mavericks are having issues beating the worthless teams. They lost to the Pelicans, but my thing is, when they lost to the Pelicans last week, you would think that you'll beat them by 20 plus points. Why are we worried about the NBA's 2-minute report worthless? You're worried about, oh yeah, it was a goaltend on us. Why are you worried about that? You should have beat this team by 20 points. They had no Zion for their whole entire season, and you're telling me that you're going to worry about an NBA report? No. Beat them by 20 points. But they should have beat the Hornets by 20 points. They lost to the Hornets by 5, 110 to 105. Daniel Gafford, 31 points and 15 rebounds. Now, Daniel Gafford, again, I get my news off Instagram. The Mavericks had made him available for trade talks. What? And I saw that. I was like, why? That is a big man versus the big man of the league. You're worried about Daniel Gafford for trades? Why? What would you get for Daniel Gafford? Daniel Gafford put up a great game. Daniel Gafford has been healthy majority of their season. He was the one that anchored the middle. Derek Lively has not been healthy. You're telling me Daniel Gafford is better? Derek Lively is better than Daniel Gafford? Daniel Gafford gives you physical toughness. There's reason teams are afraid to get into the paint is because of his presence. They're not afraid of Derek Lively. They'll dunk over Derek Lively, but they will not dunk on Daniel Gafford. Daniel Gafford, dude, they need to keep him. If you want to win a championship, they need to keep one of the most physical big men in the league in Daniel Gafford. They need to keep him, or else it's somebody else's game. It's someone else's game. If you say you're going to trade Daniel Gafford, then somebody else will be like, oh yeah, we're going to win a championship. Now, the next 5 games. This is against the Timberwolves tomorrow night. Okay, this is the Thunder. They play the Thunder again in OKC on Thursday. They got the Celtics on Saturday. That's an ABC game, by the way. That's a late afternoon game. Wow. They got the Wizards on next Monday, and then they got the Pelicans next Wednesday in New Orleans. So, Jimmy Butler. Do we make a move for him? 23-20. We're 7th in the league playing right now. I wouldn't do it for Jimmy Butler. I would not do it for Jimmy Butler. I'm sorry. I would not do it. What about Luka? Is he coming back? I'm not sure. See, if Luka would have played, I'm pretty sure he would have had a torn Achilles. I'm just predicting. I'm not wishing. I'm predicting. But then again, the Mavericks should play better than what their record states right now. I mean, everyone had the Mavericks as championship contenders. This record that tells me they're not in the running right now. They need to fix some things. I'm still waiting on Klay Thompson to perform. I'm still waiting for Quentin Grimes to perform. I'm still waiting for not for Kai or Daniel. I'm still waiting for Maxi Kleber to make a difference. That was your anchor on your defense last season. And that's how you got to the championship game. No, sorry, that's how you got to the NBA Finals. The Unrivaled League started this weekend. That's the women's 3-on-3 league. It's a league where current WNBA players are playing in. Who stood out? There's Angel Reese, there's Ryan Howard, there's Satu Sabali. All three of those players stood out. What changes do they need to make? The growth is there. I wish that the WNBA invest in it, kind of like the NBA invests in the G League. I wish that. I mean, you know, if it doesn't work out, I want WNBA players that did not get drafted to play in this league as well, to give them a shine, to give them a contract, to give them something to work off of, like you know, like your job shouldn't be overseas. If Angel Reese is talking about, or Skylar Diggins for that matter, if those players are not talking about going overseas, then it's selfish on their part. They're selfish. If the WNBA wants to play in Brazil this summer, or in Germany, or whatever, if they want to play in Canada, for that matter, then the WNBA has no choice but to go play in those countries. You have to go overseas, Angel. No ifs or buts about it. You are not entitled. Your job says, oh yeah, I play in the WNBA. I'm not going to go overseas. You're not doing that. You're going to play overseas to market yourself. People in Brazil have no idea who you are. People in Nigeria or Spain or anybody outside the U.S. have no idea who you are. That's why they want a glimpse. That's why the NBA says, you know what? We got to go overseas. The Spurs will be playing 2 games in France for Victor. Yeah. Go figure, right? He's from France, right? Go figure, right? The NBA is marketing their brand. I'm pretty sure later in the season someone's going to play in China. They're marketing. The NBA's big in China. The NBA wants to market all around. So if the NBA can do that, the WNBA should do that as well. And it starts in the Unrivaled League. Now, in the Unrivaled League, the players can market themselves. They can market themselves. So, the Unrivaled League, they can market themselves. There's coaches in the making in this league. Teresa Weatherspoon, who got screwed in Chicago. Phil Handy, who got screwed by the Lakers. And you got Nola Henry, who, by the way, should have stayed on with the Sparks as an assistant. So, I hope in later years they get an opportunity. Now, my final take of the day, the NBA teams that need to improve. The Warriors are 21-21. They lost by 40 points to the Celtics yesterday. Draymond has not been healthy, even though I think Draymond leads. They said that Anthony Edwards leads the league in technical fouls. That's not. I don't think that's the case. No, I don't think that's the case. But Draymond, you need Draymond in there. Steph I think he's playing every other day. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So I want the Warriors to improve. The Spurs. Speaking of the Spurs, they got 2 games in France this week. They're 19-22. They have lost 3 straight games. It's going to be really tough. They got the Pacers for those 2 games. It will be homecoming for Victor Wembanyama. Going home for the first time in a long time to play in France to market his brand and all that stuff. And everybody knows him. Everybody knows him. So I want the defense to improve on the Spurs, and I want to congratulate Stephon Castle. He's going to participate in the dunk contest, even though majority of the guys are not dunking anymore. That's what I realized when I watch NBA games. We're not seeing the high flying dunks that I've seen in the 2000s, 2010s. We're seeing dunks off of momentum. So we're not seeing the guys throw the alley-oops or guys like dunk just to dunk. We're seeing guys like go off momentum to exaggerate their point. So Stephon Castle, congratulations to him. I don't know who else is participating, but he's my favorite right now. The Suns, they need to commit to defense. They run one simple play on offense. Kevin Durant gets the ball. If Kevin Durant does not get the ball, is Devin Booker gets it. Now Devin Booker is in trade talks right now as of last week. I hope they don't trade him to Houston or any for that matter. He doesn't work well with any other team outside of Phoenix. So if you ask me, let him stay in Phoenix. The Heat. This is the Miami Heat. They need to keep playing to get themselves in contention. The Miami Heat are 21-20. Dealing with the Jimmy Butler drama is kind of getting old now. Jimmy, you didn't trade for Jimmy. You could have done it during his suspension, but you didn't. And now that raises the question of: are you going to trade him, or are you going to, or you're not? Because Pat says, "Oh, one day I'm going to trade him." Next thing he says, "We're not." So put this to rest and not ever speak of it again. We got the Detroit Pistons, who are 22-21. Have they found a spark? Right now, Detroit is in a nice spot. I think Detroit won yesterday. Yeah, I think won yesterday. Yeah. Cade Cunningham. He's averaging 20 plus points a game. Cade Cunningham should be an all-star. Cade Cunningham should be in the most improved conversation. That's where I want to take that conversation. Because once he's there, Detroit is not Detroit without Cade Cunningham running the show. I see a difference last season. The it factor. Detroit has it. I'm not a big fan of Isaiah Stewart. But when Cade Cunningham is on the court, that's who I'm a fan of. So I don't care for Isaiah Stewart. I have always said that Isaiah Stewart is going to get himself out of the league someday. Whether it's next season or the season after that, he has no business playing in the NBA. The guy is complete garbage, and I can say it. And I meant that because Cade Cade runs that team. And whatever Cade says, goes. So that's it for my 5 teams today, guys. The Warriors, the Spurs, the Suns, the Heat, and the Detroit Pistons. I also include the Mavericks in there too, but I don't know if the Mavericks are going to improve or not. We just got to see what happens. We want to see what happens. I would love to get this one clip in. All that stuff. So let's play a clip from Coach J.B. Bickerstaff. Now, J.B. is talking about his All-Star. Let's play that clip, please, and then we'll wrap it up, and we'll be gone in less than 30 seconds.
I was very pleased with the growth that this group made. I was pleased with the growth that individuals made and what we did collectively. And, again, I will keep saying it, over and over again, like we're not done yet. We're not a finished product. Our responsibility is to keep taking small steps and facing the things that come in front of us. Like there's going to be, like you look at our schedule, there's a lot of challenges in front of us. There's a lot of really good teams in front of us who are going to be competing for something. So those are opportunities and moments for us to learn. And again, you don't learn without going through those experiences. The Indiana game was a great learning moment for us, an opportunity for us to see what it's going to be like facing a team that you're trying to hunt down, and they know you're trying to hunt them down. So all those things are just opportunities for us, and that's our expectation as we keep growing day by day and facing the challenges that are in front of us.
All right. So you heard from JB Biggerstaff. Let's see what happens, man. I want to see what happens between now and the All-Star break. And what moves is one of those teams going to make? Remains to be seen. Now, next week, like I said, we're going to recap the AFC NFC playoffs, and then I want to be on record, and you're my witness. I'm going to say the Eagles win. The Eagles will beat the Commanders. There's going to be some faces crying. There's going to be one player crying in particular. The Eagles will beat the Commanders, guys. As much as I hate the Eagles, I say they will beat the Commanders. I don't believe in the Commanders, but the Eagles will beat them. So let's recap that next week once I get this prediction right, and then the Bills and the Chiefs. I will go with the Chiefs on that one. So we got the Eagles and the Chiefs, the rematch from a couple of years ago, actually, in the Super Bowl. So that's my prediction. And also, we got a full segment on college basketball. And then in the NBA, let's see how the Mavericks do. And then let's talk about the bad teams. Because those bad teams are going for the number one pick. They don't care about the playoffs. They're going for the number one pick. So let's talk about that all next week. Thank you for listening and watching to my podcast. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcast at. And I will see y'all next week. It's Beyond the Game on Fishbowl Radio.